What's going on today, Internet? Selfish here with Retrospect. Today we're going to take a look at the TrimUI Smart Pro S, but not just any Smart Pro S. This one here has CrossMixOS on it, the popular OS from the original TrimUI Smart Pro, and we're going to find out if it's worth the upgrade. Let's take a look. Now, it's no secret on this channel that I am a big fan of the TrimUI Smart Pro and now the Pro S. I have been a big fan of TrimUI since they started releasing handhelds, with the original TrimUI Smart Pro being my first that I really got into. But there was the TrimUI Smart, and then there was also the TrimUI, what was it, the Mini or whatever? I can't even remember. All those other ones I used to hack back in the day. But I have found that I really do like their products. And I was one of the first people to do the review on the original TrimUI Smart Pro, so I thought it only fitting that I continue to do reviews on these devices because of how much I do enjoy them, but I'm also not afraid to tell you what's wrong with them. One of the beautiful things here about the TrimUI Smart Pro S, the feel and form factor are the same as the original TrimUI Smart Pro, but you do get a more powerful A523 CPU that runs at 2 GHz. And one of the original things with the original TrimUI Smart Pro was a heating issue where they just seem to get very warm. They've actually tackled that here with active cooling on the device, and here you can see the vents for the processor. So they've actually made that a little bit better. Now, a lot of people have been questioning why they went with 1 gig of RAM versus maybe 2 that we're seeing on some of the newer handhelds that are coming out. I would beg to say that most of these handhelds that are currently running 2 gigs of RAM are probably going to be going back to 1. TrimUI probably saw the writing on the wall with the RAM shortages. So unfortunately, I believe that next year we will see, or this year, I guess in 2026, we will see more devices coming out with less RAM on them. Another example would be like the AYN Odin 3 Ultra, where they've actually put a hold on shipping until they can find some good RAM deals. So right now we're actually kind of running into that across the board with handhelds. And TrimUI is a company that builds handhelds to last. The original Smart Pro had been out for a couple of years, and they just continued to make it better through software innovation and some other things. By example, they didn't initially come with the Vulkan backend, and they did add that eventually to help with emulation. Now with the TrimUI Smart Pro S, this already has the Vulkan backend and that better processor, so the 1 gig of RAM isn't going to be as detrimental as maybe it would be in other instances. Now we'll take a quick walk around the device. And one of the questions I've been getting is how clicky are the buttons on the face buttons here, the ABXY. I don't know if you can hear them. They do make a little bit of noise, but nothing that's going to bother your partner. Some other things that they did keep on here is they did keep this fake HDMI port. I don't know why that this is on here other than for TrimUI to pick like a 17th place to put their logo on the device. But they do still have this, what we assume was an HDMI port on the original TrimUI Smart Pro that never actually got put in. Now we have that same plug here on the TrimUI Smart Pro S, so I'm questioning its value. They did also add a microphone down here to the bottom. I don't recall that being on the original. And then we do still have our function key to give you better CPU performance when you turn the function key on, or you can do it to change the lights, whatever you want. You can actually change that. That is one of the things in CrossMixOS is you can change what this function key can do. There's also a lanyard hole here on the bottom. I don't recall that being on the original either. Let's grab the original real quick. I stand corrected. There was a lanyard spot and there was a microphone, but it was in a different spot. So they have moved that microphone over. But other than that, you can't really tell a whole lot of difference here on the bottom. The back here obviously is that active cooling we had just gone over. On the top, I think that the triggers are fairly similar. These are like the second rendition of the TrimUI Smart Pro. The first ones were very, very stiff, which is like this one here, very stiff. But they do loosen up over time, but they are pretty stiff. On the top here, we do have a couple of differences as well. We do have a home button now, which would be typical on like an Android handheld, but it is useful on here too because you can get into CPU changes and modifications and things like that as well. Still have a host out for a controller. Nothing crazy there, nothing unknown. Now the original had these sticks that are very similar, but they sat in further, which maybe made it a little bit more pocketable, but these also did not click, and a lot of people wanted L3 and R3. Now we have slightly bigger Vita style sticks here, and they do click, and they are up a little bit higher. They get these cute little boots underneath them, and you actually do get that L3, R3, which is a nice little added feature. Anytime you get more buttons, you're kind of coming out ahead. Other than that though, everything else here is pretty much all the same from the original TrimUI Smart Pro. One thing about my green one here, and if you saw my video with the yellow one, is this one does not have a stuck B button. So this one actually is coming back up now, but when I first got this, let's see if I can get a closer shot here. The B button was stuck, and it is a little bit now, but now it's really kind of come back out again. So I don't want to say stuck, I guess maybe it was inset a little bit more than the other buttons, but now it's coming back up. So it must have just been something with how it was set in there, and now after playing with it a bunch, it is getting better. It's still a little bit lower than the rest of them, but I think with time it's going to make its way back up there just based off of what it's doing so far. So now I know you're going to ask, what can you play on the TrimUI Smart Pro now that we have some new software on here? I will play a couple of games here for you, and I will kind of walk through the OS a little bit as well, just so you can get a better idea of what the OS looks like. With this version of CrossMix, yes, it's not official. I know you're going to go to the CrossMix GitHub and tell me it was like December 30th or something of last year, the last time we got a CrossMixOS. It's been over a year, but the Surwish team has actually gone through and made their own version of CrossMixOS, and you can pick the Surwish cards up over at MechDIY, who also provided this handheld to me for review, and we are running the Surwish card directly from MechDIY here. It is a 256 gig SanDisk card, so you are getting a name brand card with all the ROMs and everything on it that you will see here, and you will get CrossMixOS, the Surwish version of CrossMixOS. And they have been putting out CrossMixOS versions since CrossMix stopped putting out versions. They do have one for the TrimUI Brick as well, which is what we're waiting for with the original. I'm sure the dev got busy or something. That happens. But we do have this Surwish team through MechDIY that actually is able to get you those updates now. And they have some pretty awesome ROM libraries. I have no complaints about the ROM libraries that the Surwish team comes up with. I think they do a great job. Now I want to take a quick opportunity here now that we're going to be using Surwish OS to kind of show you how it works. I also want to show you how to install it in case you do get one of these cards and you do need to do an install, because it is going to do a firmware upgrade version as well at the same time. So I'm using my yellow one here, and I will show you exactly how to install Surwish OS once you put the memory card in. And it's pretty simple. You're going to turn off your device and you're going to hold the volume down and power button together. And you can see that here on the directions. If you look on here, that's exactly what it's telling you to do. It's telling you to hit the power button and the volume down at the same time with the device powered off. So what we're going to do is we're going to power it off. I guess A to shut down. Okay, now that we have the device shut down, we are going to hit the volume down button, which it is in the right order for the people in the West. It will be the left volume button and then the power button at the same time. And then we should see a load up screen, that screen right there. And so you can just let go once you see that, and then it will do the install for Surwish OS. Then you'll be able to take advantage of a lot of these things we've been talking about in this video. And obviously you're going to get a little bit better of an experience. And some of the systems will have some optimization and things like that that will make them play a little bit better, similar to what you had on the original TrimUI Smart Pro, if you were one of the lucky people to have an original TrimUI Smart Pro. So we'll just let this go for a minute, and then we will get back at it. Now we should see it load up into CrossMixOS here. All right, so it does take a few minutes to get into CrossMixOS, so don't be surprised if it does that, maybe a minute or two. And then here we go. Now we are into CrossMixOS, and you're already seeing the game libraries that are already designed for you. So you have like a Mario collection. So you have like a Mario collection library. You got a Sonic one. You have a Turtles one. So there's some pretty cool stuff here. The Zelda collection's pretty neat as well. And so you'll have all that stuff already pre-built in here. There's a demo collection. I've never really understood the demo collection, but it does have all the systems. So that's what you're going to get right there. Let's move it over to the side cam, and I can show you a little bit better kind of what's going on. So now with this here, you can see a little bit better of what I was talking about. So you do have these collections. Here, maybe if I move a little bit, you have these collections and things like that. Now you do have an emulation station or emulation section as well. And then you do have a recents tab. So if you go to recents, this will tell you everything you've recently played. You have a favorite. So if you want to bookmark your favorites, you're able to bookmark your favorites right inside the favorites tab. Not sure why this isn't coming in very clear, but hopefully it'll be better when I go to edit it. Here is obviously that first tab that we opened up into, and then here you can see all the different systems, and they're kind of in a 3D atmosphere on here, which is pretty neat. And we'll go through and test a couple of games here in those systems. Then you do also have the apps tab, which will give you options for the function key. So if you go to the function key here, for instance, you can change it so it's a CPU, or you can change it so it goes into night mode. You can go power save if you want to. I have mine in performance mode. One of my devices, I have it so it's performance mode and turns off the LEDs. I don't really care if the LEDs are on or not, to be honest. They're pretty subtle in this. You're not even really seeing them right now. So, I mean, that's how subtle they are. So it's not a big deal. And then once we're back in here, so you can do Moonlight. So that's going to be for your game streaming, stuff like that. You will also have access to pictures, an ebook reader, things like that. And then you can change your boot logo. Also with the LEDs here, we do have what's called Smart LED. This does give us a little bit more with the LED itself, and we can change the tones and the colors and things like that here with Smart LED. That's something that's not on the factory operating system, so that is something that is available on here. Again, I don't really care. Oh good, now I just made them all kinds of cool colors. You do have a second system tools too, which is in here. This will give you the system tools that are built into CrossMix aside from the system tools that are going to be on the normal OS itself. And so what we have here is going to be that. So here you get some different things like LED control. Once again, you can go through and just individually work on these different emulators and different overlays you might want to use in RetroArch. You also do have access to your network connections. This will actually help you out with gaming if you want to hook two of these together. Here's your theme tool. You can change what the themes are coming out as on there, and you can actually make your own as well. Under tools here, you do have a night mode. You can check your file system on your SD card. The basic stuff you would normally see that you just don't see in the TrimUI menu system, so you do get a lot more abilities here. You can actually generate playlists, things like that, and then you do have access to Portmaster. We also do have stuff for the user interface. So this is that best section that we have set up where I was showing you it's got Mario and Zelda and things like that. You can access it and change it from there. You can check for updates in here, things like that. Refresh your system tools. That's going to be under apps, and then it's going to be under the settings in apps, or system tools and apps. Here you also do have access to Screen Scraper if you need to use Screen Scraper, which is pretty cool. You do have a terminal as well. I know I'm kind of bouncing around. You do have a terminal as well. These are in alphabetical order, by the way. Another thing you do have is the music player, and again, here's Portmaster. This is not the settings for Portmaster, but Portmaster itself. You do have a game randomizer, so you can choose a random game if you'd like to, and have it just decide what game you're going to play. And then you do have OTA updates. These should probably never update because these are going to access the CrossMix server, and I don't believe that there's been an update on there in a long time. But we thought I'd give it a shot, and it says it can't connect. But if it does come back up, then you'll be able to do those there. Activities here is kind of like your log just for everything you've done on the device. It's nothing super special, but it is something that's available on there. I just installed this, so we're not going to have any activities, which is why it kicked me back out. And your USB storage is you can just use this as a storage device. That way you can access your games and things through your computer with just a USB cable. Pretty cool. Then we get in the regular system settings, and here you're going to be able to control things like Wi-Fi, hotspot, volume up and down, display brightness, your different themes. Now there's going to be some themes in here, not as cool as some of the themes you're going to find in the other menu under the applications, but there are some themes in here. And then you do also have another system settings area. This is going to give you things like being able to change your stick dead zones, refresh your ROMs list, which you can actually just do under the emulator by hitting the menu button, and it'll ask you to do the same thing. But you can do your normal setting stuff, NetPlay. Again, NetPlay is going to be available on the advanced settings over on the CrossMix side. So that is going to be there if you're a developer or whatever. If you want to reset your device, it won't reset the memory card, but you can go in here and you can actually tell it to do a factory reset, and it will reset the device itself. So I think that's kind of the basics of CrossMix. I'm not going to be able to show you exactly what's been optimized on the back end for CrossMix, but I'll play a couple of games here real quick, and then we'll kind of go from there. All right, so here we have, if you go into Game Boy Advance, which is one of my favorite systems to play on this, even though this is a 16:9 display, it's a 720 by 1280 display, 4.96 inch IPS. It is 16:9, but I do love playing Game Boy Advance and PSP on this device mostly. Probably my two favorite systems to play on here. And when you go in here with the Surwish SD card, you're going to get hacks. Modern games, Pokemon hacks, stuff like that are already built into this. So you have different playlists built in, and then you also get your games for something like Game Boy Advance. Now you're going to be able to see on here that there are some bezels that they put on here for the Game Boy Advance. So you're not taking advantage of this full beautiful screen, but you are getting a pretty good look at it. I'm not, because I can't see what I'm doing because I'm trying to play through a monitor. How am I missing that? There we go. All right, we're going to try out F-Zero here on N64 just to make sure that was just cruising that was having issues. I would say that's working just fine. So it definitely is Cruis'n USA that is causing the issue with N64, because F-Zero is actually another hard game to emulate, but it's playing just fine on here. I haven't used Crash Bandicoot to test in over a year now, so we're going to give this a shot. I really am enjoying the TrimUI Smart Pro S, which is really no surprise because of how much I really enjoyed the original TrimUI Smart Pro. And this is really just a step up from that device. I do wish it did have that extra RAM. There are a couple other things too. The fans are a little bit loud from time to time. For some reason, the fans just like to kick on whenever they like to kick on. And sometimes it seems like they should be on. Sometimes it's just, oh, you're exiting a game and the fans kick on. I don't know if it just needs a little extra cooling down. They're not overly loud like some of the devices that I own, but definitely not my favorite thing to hear when the fan kicks on this thing. The other thing is, and let's see if I can show it to you here, is that the bumps on the back here are bigger. I can't decide if I like that or not. It doesn't add any ergonomics to it really, but if you look at it in comparison to the original TrimUI Smart Pro, the TrimUI Smart Pro S does have a bigger hump here, which I believe is probably because the shoulder buttons are a little bit bigger, so it's trying to help protect them. They did intend this to go in your pocket after all. So I guess it does make sense. It's just not my favorite. It does seem to like kind of, it's weird because it's so small, but I do get it hooked on stuff sometimes, and I wish that that was not the case. But other than those couple of things, there's really nothing bad to say about the TrimUI Smart Pro S. It has been like an amazing little device for me, and I've spent a lot of time at appointments recently, and I'm carrying that device with me instead of my TrimUI brick, just because I was doing my testing and stuff for this. That and another device, which you'll see in a video coming up soon. But I've been carrying a couple of devices with me, and the TrimUI Smart Pro S has definitely done a really good job of kind of filling that need for me and giving me a little bit more than the TrimUI brick has as far as gameplay ability. Now, it doesn't fit in my pocket as well, but it still fits in my pocket nonetheless, so I am still using it as an EDC type of device, which I kind of already knew because that's what I did with the original TrimUI Smart Pro when it came out. So all in, I think it's a great little device. If it's something that you're interested, there'll be links down in my thingamabob where you can get yourself a TrimUI Smart Pro S in either this color, this color, this color. There's a black one and there is a red one as well. I believe there's 5 colors. Yeah, there's 5 colors total, so pretty cool. So you can get yourself kind of whatever color matches your outfit for the day or whatever you're kind of into. Either way, I think it is a solid little device. I am glad they added active cooling and things like that. And thank you again to MechDIY for providing this TrimUI Smart Pro S for the purpose of review. There are links down on my thingamabob to the MechDIY website. It is an affiliate link, so if you want to hit the affiliate link, that'd be awesome. It hooks me up, but then I will also hook you up, or MechDIY will, with a 16% discount. You go to the website, hit this code right here, RetroSpec16. You put that in at the end of your order. Once you hit that link down on my thingamabob, and that will give you 16% off of your order. It'll save you some money, and it will help with financing the channel. So it's kind of a win-win for everybody. So thank you for that hookup, MechDIY. But that's all I got for today. Don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, share this video with your friends because sharing is caring. It also helps grow the channel. Once you're done with all that, take a look at some of these videos here at the end. One of these videos is probably calling to you because Google picked it for you in the algorithm because they think you're going to like it. And I'm not one to argue with Google, so I'm going to say you're going to like it too. But that's all I got for today. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.